It was J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI,
Right. Go ahead.
and said they were looking for a black messiah to rise and pull together the nationalist element in the black community.
Yes, sir.
White people realized early on that in order to maintain slavery, black people had to be kept away from certain vital information, which is why reading and writing was prohibited. This made us a tool and a slave for their usage. Even today's system of white supremacy remains empowered as long as the darker people are kept away from certain vital information, like who's really behind the global domination and subjugation of the darker people. There are prophecies describing how the wicked rulers would plot to silence and destroy the messianic voices who would expose them. Voices that are best identified by how God's enemies would recognize and respond to them. The Holy Quran shows how God's enemies would recognize the messenger Messiah just as they recognize their own sons, yet they would still plot against him. Like Moses, who offended Pharaoh's kingdom for desiring separation to free God's people from the oppressor. Or like Jesus, whose greatest offense was exposing the devil, whom he recognized as a secretive, influential group of people he calls the synagogue of Satan. It was because of this that the Jewish leaders sought to destroy Jesus and punished anyone for following him. History proves that the same type of conniving groups thrive today, and they have tremendous control over politics, news media, and various industries of society. And these groups work to silence the messianic voices that expose their corruption.
Jews believe in censorship more than anybody else. All you got to do is start talking about Jews, and you'll find all the papers will close up on you. They can't take it. They can't take any criticism. They're the most sensitive white people on this earth. They don't like you to talk about them, but they want to talk about everybody else.
Did you know that the U.S. government's counterintelligence program worked to prevent a black messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black masses? This is right out of the prophecies where Pharaoh and Herod worked to destroy the messianic deliverers of God's chosen people. Who does that? Satan. Now you can see why America has worked so hard to suppress, silence, and distort the liberating messages of those who came to free us. Just about every progressive black leader we've had has been accused at some point of teaching hate and anti-Semitism. That's how they mislabel our freedom fighters to justify punishing them and silencing their voice. Hell, that's how they did Jesus. In the mid-'80s, the all-white U.S. Senate, the most powerful legislative body in the world, voted to officially censor Minister Farrakhan. That means they don't want the public to even hear the truth he speaks because he exposes their satanic deeds. Then, the U.S. and British governments colluded to officially ban Brother Farrakhan from entering the United Kingdom, all based on their white lies. Lies that became enacted into international policies.
The controversial American leader of the Nation of Islam was judged by successive Home Secretaries to be a dangerous racist, anti-white, anti-Semitic, and an admirer of Hitler.
What is it about this one unarmed black man that has the world's most powerful governments and militaries afraid that people might listen to him? It's because he has that truth that unifies and electrifies the masses of his people. It's that truth that will make you free, because it exposes the real enemy of freedom, justice, and equality. Here's a man who led the largest, most peaceful demonstration of black unity in the history of the modern world. Yet they've deliberately excluded this from history books and school curriculum. And after the Million Man March, there was an all-out media blackout to keep him and his voice out of the mainstream media. Despite being the most sought-after black speaker in the world, influential white Jewish groups pressured black preachers and college presidents to place a de facto ban on Minister Farrakhan from speaking at their churches and college campuses. Sadly, this resulted in black youth being totally devoid of the wisdom, guidance, and proven solutions that Brother Farrakhan offers. Did you know that black celebrities who show public admiration for him have been threatened and have come under fire just for speaking favorably about him? Even in this social media age of information, the synagogue of Satan enacted algorithms and metrics to prevent the public from discovering their wrongdoings. They've literally altered the search engine algorithms to deter people from discovering the truth. Even recently, London officials issued special requirements that disallowed community organizers from being able to broadcast a live or recorded speech by Minister Farrakhan, or even allow any other person speaking on his behalf to share words. Now they're trying to justify removing Minister Farrakhan's social media accounts under the same false pretext of teaching hate because he's waking people up to the truth. They're clear on who he is, which is why they work extra hard to keep us ignorant to the empowering truth that he represents. It behooves all of us who claim to love freedom, justice, and equality to help the man who most effectively unifies, electrifies, and empowers our people.